introduction is always so powerful. I think I picked the best music for that introduction. But welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Herren Project Live. My name is Izzy B. I am the Youth Engagement Specialist. As always, the wonderful Izzy B, the rapper name, the full nine. This week we have some amazing guests. I love the like for that. This week we have some amazing guests. And I don't really think I have any announcements. Sign up for our youth engagement newsletter that sends out monthly to students if you want to stay up to date about the youth conference, youth ambassadors, Herren Project clubs, and we have some new fun things coming your way. So please keep an eye on our social media and you will get all the information. But first and foremost, like I said, we have some amazing guests tonight. I'm so excited to bring them both on because, again, we love highlighting amazing stories and especially amazing art, which we will get to very soon. So first of the night, I'm going to bring on Marc, who is going to talk about a golf tournament and a little bit more about his story and why he's here with us tonight. Hi, Marc. How are you?
Good. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So where are you tuning in from?
I'm tuning in from Westchester, New York.
Oh, we got some. Are you a Yankee fan?
I am a Yankee fan. Unfortunately, it was not a good night last night.
Oh, thanks. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
I really don't watch what Yankees is. That's baseball.
You got it.
Okay, thank you. It's like I'm gonna embarrass myself in front of 50 people. But do you want to introduce yourself to us and tell us a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Marc Spivack. I run a golf outing in memory of my brother-in-law. So Rob Keener, my brother-in-law who passed away from an overdose back in 2017. And Rob was an amazing human. He was an amazing friend, amazing son, brother. Most importantly, he was an amazing father to my two nephews, an amazing husband to my sister. So we lost him, unfortunately, back in March of 2017. And we just want to remember him and do something that allows us to keep his name alive, his memory alive. And, I hope people are thinking about him more than just once a year. But I love to be able to have a day where we just think about Rob and we get together and tell the funny stories, the good stories, all the good times that, Rob brought into our life. And we host a memorial golf outing and dinner every year in his name. And we have a ton of people attend. We have about 60 guests for golf for the full day. And then for the evening event, including those 60, we're anywhere from 100 to 120 guests. This year, we're around 110, 115.
That's awesome. That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that with us and for sharing the story of your brother-in-law. I'm very, very sorry that he had to pass, but I think you are doing an amazing job about keeping his name and who he was alive. Can I ask, did he like golf?
Yeah, he did. We played a couple rounds. We played a bunch of rounds together. We played a couple with his father and my father-in-law. My father-in-law used to call it the Keener golf outing. And now we have a memorial golf outing called the Rob Keener Memorial Golf Outing. So it's kind of funny how that works. But yeah, he loved golf. Like me, he wasn't great at it, but we had fun going out there and playing. And that's the most important thing.
Yep. No, yeah. Again, it's all about how much fun and how much you enjoy it. So can I ask, how did you get involved with Herren Project?
Sure. So shortly after Rob passed away, I was actually at my nephew, his younger son's birthday party. And I was talking to one of his best friends, Frank, and we're like, we have to do something to remember Rob every year. We need to make sure that we keep his memory alive. And so we thought golf outing. We all love golf. We can couple it with a dinner afterwards. Our dinner includes a casino night where you get funny money, and whoever has the most at the end of the night gets to choose from prizes on the table. We also have a bunch of raffles where people buy raffle tickets and we call out the prizes at the end of the night. We have some amazing prizes this year. We had a pizza oven, a Uni pizza oven. We had a Oculus VR set. We had coffee machines and a set of golf clubs, Titleist golf clubs, and a ton more. So
wow, that's awesome.
I went on a little tangent there, but
okay.
So we decided we wanted to host a golf out, and we knew that Rob's friends, my sister's friends, and everyone else would really enjoy coming out for a day to remember him. So we play golf. It's a shotgun scramble, which means we all start at the same time and we play best ball. And then at the end of the night, we go in for the dinner. And I got involved with Herren Project, to answer your question, because I was looking around, looking for a charity that I thought was worthy of us donating in Rob's memory. You know, it's one thing to donate money. It's another thing to do it in the memory of someone that you love and you miss. So we wanted it to be a worthy cause. And I checked out a couple of charities that dealt with addiction and substance abuse. And when I stumbled across Herren Project, it was instant. I knew that this was the right charity for us. And the real reason for that was just the fact, Chris's story. It resonated with me because it reminded me a lot about Rob. Rob was an athlete. He played baseball. He was a star pitcher in high school up in Poughkeepsie, New York. He was a very athletic guy. And yeah, just everything that I saw, or most of what I saw in Chris's story, watching Unguarded, researching him online, looking on your website, it just reminded me of Rob. And I wish to God Rob had heard about Herren Project before his passing, because I think it would have really struck a nerve with him. And I think it might have truly helped, because not only is the story similar, but Rob was a huge basketball fan. He was actually buried in a USA Dream Team jersey, Michael Jordan. So yeah, it just instantly clicked for me that Chris's story and what you guys do, it was the one for us.
Thank you so much again for sharing all that with us. And we truly appreciate being the foundation or organization to be chosen for a tournament and a memory outing, and the donations, of course.
Yeah, we've raised a bunch. We're very fortunate to have an incredible support network.
That's awesome.
People who come to the event, people who can't and just donate. Being a year where COVID is still very prevalent in our lives, we actually had our best year yet, both in terms of numbers at the outing as well as the amount we were able to raise in Rob's name. I haven't sent the final check in, but we'll be donating about $31,000 this year. And in total, over the 5 years that we've held the event, 1 year last year, obviously we couldn't have the event in person, but our goal this year was to cross 100,000 donated in 5 years. We crossed 117 with this outing. So hoping to keep it going. I want to partner with Herren Project for as long as I can. I've told my sister, my family, I've told Bonnie, my intention is to pass this on to my nephews when they get old enough. My nephew Cameron's 10. My nephew Jackson is 7. And so there's a lot of time where I'm going to be doing this. But when they get older, I definitely want to pass it on to them to run and keep their father's memory and legacy alive. And this, by the way, was Rob, the picture here.
Oh, thank you.
This was at his wedding. Just a happy-go-lucky, jovial guy. Cared about everyone, loved being the funny guy, knew tons of quotes for movies. That's one of the things we always remember about Rob, and just miss him dearly. And another thing I have over here from the outing is we give away like an outing gift, if you will, every year. And this year, my friend Matt, who has a laser business called Wolf Made Creations, you can look him up. He actually made these. So this is a battery charger, wireless, and you can also plug it in. But this is our logo for the golf outing.
Okay, but that's kind of fire. I will not lie. That's awesome. I love that. That's great.
Yeah, and then this year we were actually, I should have mentioned, we were honored to have Bonnie and Chris join our event to celebrate the fifth year, as well as crossing $100,000. And it was amazing to have them there. Kevin came 2 years ago. This year, Bonnie and Chris, and just all of them. I know Kevin's gone, but all of them are such great assets for Herren Project and the mission that you guys are on. And meeting them was wonderful. And just as I said to Bonnie and Chris, what we give, it doesn't matter as long as you guys are doing the right thing with it. And you guys are incredible. What you do is amazing. And, we lost Rob, and Herren can't help him anymore, but you can help a lot of people like him, and you guys do. And it's just unbelievable to see, and a charity that we are beyond honored to partner with and donate with every year.
Yeah, we are as equally, I can see it all in the comments, we are equally as honored to partner with you and continue to share and keep Rob's legacy and memory alive. Again, thank you so much for sharing all that with us. And just know that all of the money that you're raising and the hard work you're putting in is going to help people. And I know that at the end of the day, that's your mission. But as well as keeping Rob's legacy and memory alive. I think you're setting a fantastic foundation for your nieces and nephews to take this on and continue to keep their father's memory alive. It's not easy, but I think all of the work that you've been able in 5 years you've been able to raise over $100,000. That's absolutely insane. And that just goes to show your dedication and passion to continue to talk about something like this and really, really help people. But can I ask, what was I gonna ask? I
Well,
was like,
while you're thinking about that, I'd like to just mention that my sister said it best a couple of days ago to me. It's a labor of love. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. Rob was worth it. But I appreciate the kind words you just said. But it really, I'm the central hub for it all. But it really is our network and our support system coming together just to be there for us first and foremost, most importantly. But then also to be able to be so generous to allow us to donate the money that we donate. So I definitely can't take the credit. I can't even take most of the credit. It's the people in our lives that get all the credit.
no, honestly, but the fact that you have that amazing support system really puts you all together, and that again, you're all coming together to really, support one another, support a community, and continue to talk about something like this. It's not something that I think one person can talk about alone. It's something that it takes a community. It takes a village to make a change, as my mother always says. Because at the end of the day, where would we be if we didn't have a fantastic support network supporting us in something like this? And we're equally happy to be a part of that community with you, with your support network, raising awareness, helping people, sharing memories, sharing support. It's all so important at the end of the day. And to continue to have, like outings like these and tournaments and everything else. I remembered my question. So how has it been watching something like this grow over the last 5 years?
Oh wow, it's been amazing. It's it started as an idea, and I just thought my goal, and to be honest, this is my goal every year, is to at least break even or even lose a little money, but be able to have the day for Rob. But to be able to see the fact that we've been able to raise after all of our costs as much money as we have, it just blows me away. I think one thing that blew me away more than almost anything else was last year when everybody is struggling so much personally, financially, health wise. Addiction is so incredibly relevant right now because of everybody being stuck at home with uncertainties and just a COVID life. And we didn't even have an event. And last year we raised over $17,000 with no event.
That's
And it was incredible. And then, my father always says, he likes to manage expectations, not let me get too excited about things. And he's always like, he's like, this year, we might not get as many people. We might not raise as much money. It's a COVID year. And we had our biggest year in terms of attendance and dollars raised in the 5 years that we've been doing this. So it's a testament to the people in our lives again. I know I've said that a few times today, but I really want to hammer it home. It's a testament to the people that we have in our lives. We are so incredibly lucky to have those that we do in our lives.
No, and I want to continue to second that, say it and say it over again, because here at Herren Project, we talk about the community. Like Bonnie had just put in such an incredible community. Yes, community at the end of the day is what is going to take this to continue this conversation, continue sharing people's memories and their legacies, and to come together to fight the opioid epidemic and addiction, and continue to provide people the treatment they need to live a healthy, fulfilling life. And we appreciate your support system, and we will continue to be here to support you and honor your brother-in-law as long as we need to. As long as we need to.
Great. Thank you, Izzy. I appreciate it. And we'll continue doing our part by raising as much as we can to help you do your mission, help you succeed.
Thank you. We could not simply do it without you and your support network and everyone else in between who's doing the hard work to continue to fight addiction and help people get into treatment. So thank you again so much for sharing all that with us. and we will leave it here for the night with you. But we do expect a yearly update or something of that sorts.
Yeah, it
So
was actually 1 year ago tomorrow that I spoke to Kevin. I see he's on there
yep,
writing. 1 year ago tomorrow, I spoke to Kevin about this outing. So,
that's awesome.
yeah,
Time's line up.
yeah.
We're going for a reason. But again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We
Thank
seriously
you for having me, Izzy. I appreciate the discussion and highlighting Rob and our outing.
yeah, of course. Thank you again for sharing it with us, and we will talk soon.
Talk soon.
Bye. I love these conversations because it's always so empowering to hear what other people are doing. Um, it's great. But now we're gonna continue this empowering night, and we're gonna bring on an absolutely amazing artist. I just bonded with her for about 10 minutes over art, so I think we're gonna have a little like art show off if everyone's okay with that, because we could always use some nice kindness and inspiration in our life. So tonight, I'm so happy for Karla to join us, who is a Herren Project alum as well as an artist. Hi, Karla. How are you?
Hi, Izzy. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm as good as I could be. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Where are you tuning in from?
From Lincoln, Massachusetts, just outside of Boston.
Oh, so you're not too far from me. We're the New England slang. Great stuff. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure. My name is Karla Cohen, and Izzy, as you said, I am a Herren Project alum, and it's not something that I ever imagined. I didn't know anything about the organization, and I was saying earlier tonight when I was talking about even doing this evening, how lucky I am to have found this organization, because I didn't realize how sick I was. I was a mom. I think when I first really came to terms with the fact that my drinking had gotten out of control, I was probably about 34 years old. And then that was in 2014. And I didn't get to treatment until 2017. So it took me a really long time. And as a lot of people know, this is a progressive illness, and it just was getting worse and worse and worse. But I didn't think it was that bad. I had a job. I was like, things on the outside looked okay. And I think a lot of people, especially now in the pandemic, I've seen a lot of women and a lot of moms, especially, really struggling with this and not knowing where to go or how to get help. And I certainly had no idea. So what happened was I had Googled, because I was trying to prove that I wasn't an alcoholic. I was Googling alcoholism in moms to sort of like figure out, how am I not this? I always thought that maybe there was an issue, but it was sporadic and I had things under control. But I was really, really, really sick. And I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that this was a progressive disease, really. I knew of that, but I didn't actually understand what that meant or that my life was in danger. And so what happened was I connected with Laura McCowan, who's the person that I ended up finding once I Googled, and she had a blog. And fast forward, we met for lunch. She lived in Marblehead. We had some friends in common. She connected with me on Facebook, and that turned into a friendship that after another year and a half of struggling, I get a couple of months sober, and then I would relapse. I really needed more intensive help, but I didn't think that I could take time off from work. And I had kids, and I had a husband at the time who was traveling a lot. And I just thought, there's no way. But in the process of like, what was one of my darkest weeks ever, I reached out to Laura again, and I was like, I don't think that I can stop. And I think either I'm going to die or someone around me is going to die. I knew it was a really bad situation because I was drinking around the clock, and that had never happened before. And it had been about a week. And it was, I don't even really remember a lot of what happened. And it's so weird to even say that right now, because I never imagined that something like that would happen to me. And so I reached out to Laura, and she and a couple of other friends that I'd known, I'd started going to AA. So a few people showed up and helped me, and I went to the hospital. And so was like, I wanted to get help. And so I was like, well, let's take you to the emergency room. But by the time I got there, I hadn't had a drink in about 48 hours. So I had already detoxed myself. And so I was in a situation where they're looking at me like, why are you here? You're not in an acute sort of crisis. And I was like, I just need help, and I don't know where to go. And I'm just like, I was still in this state of like, I just completely thought that like, this is okay now. Like I'm alive right now, but I don't know how much longer that's going to be the case. And so what I was told was, well, there's something called detox. I didn't know what detox was, but they were like, we don't know that we can get you into detox because you're not detoxing from anything. And so the advice given to me by the nurse was to go drink alcohol in the waiting room, and then they could treat me, and then they could get me into treatment immediately. And I knew that if I did that, I was not coming back or I wouldn't stay in the waiting room. I was like, who knows what's going to happen to me? I'll disappear. Who knows? I'll get on a plane, be off to Brazil. Who knows? I'll just be gone. And I knew that it was like, because I really wanted to continue drinking, but I knew that I needed help. It was this horrible situation of like, I can't stop, but I know I have to. And it had not been fun for a very long time. Mm-hmm. So what they gave us was a bunch of printouts and a bunch of lists of, try and call these different detoxes and good luck to you. And then we were sent on our way. And it was like, the only other option was to say that I was suicidal. And then they were like, we can lock you in the psych ward for a few days and then maybe get you into some sort of psych treatment. But those were my options, which, at the time I remember thinking like, no wonder so many people die of this. There's really not that moment between like, I need help and then accessing help is such a short window. And Chris talks about this a lot, but it was like, if I hadn't had those, like, I think of them as like my guardian angels around me at the time who happened to say, like, after they had been calling on my behalf, because I was just losing it. And I was like, there's nothing that can be done. I thought this is a hopeless situation. I'll go back to AA. But what I was really thinking was trying to scheme of like, how can I go back to drinking? Because I couldn't face my life and I had no other coping mechanism. So what happened was Laura McCowan realized she's actually an author now. She's published a wonderful book. She's, in the program goes through AA, and she wrote this book, We Are the Luckiest, which is like really how I felt. I was the luckiest that she remembered that the Herren Project existed and that she knew of Kristen Powell. And so she was able to put me in touch with her. And Kristen was like this voice on the other line. And I could barely put together, a full sentence of like, I was shaking, not from like withdrawal, but I was shaking from just frustration and just from anger towards the whole situation. Mm-hmm. I had my kids to deal with, and I was like, there's no way that this is going to work. But she was able to take my information. She's like, you have insurance. We've got, options for you. You can go to Cape Cod. She told me exactly where I could go, which ones would be covered, because that was also unclear to me. At the hospital, they were just like, we don't know which ones will be covered, and you're not going to know until you get the bill and insurance decides if they're going to pay for it or not. And these are thousands and thousands of dollars, like, and so it was just like, what? Like, how is this how we deal with this problem? Mm-hmm. And then to add to that, all of the shame, just to be able to go in and say that I needed help, and then to basically be shamed out of there and to say that like, we really don't have any options for you. It's like the Herren Project was this bridge. And so I got really lucky that Laura knew of her and remembered her after the frustrating process. I think she'd made like 60 different phone calls at that point. That's what it felt like anyway. And we were getting nowhere. It was like, you're no priority. You don't need detox right now. So it was just really like, what are women like me supposed to do who are moms who, really desperately need this help, but are not in an acute crisis, who are like, I see a problem here and I'm really struggling. Yes. So what happened was that the Kristen was able to take down my information, and I got some amazing options. I was able to go to Gosnold, and then I ended up being able to transfer into Katomet a couple of days later. And then I was at Katomet, which was, essentially rehab for about 28 days. And it was really like the first time where I was able to access the help that I needed and get the treatment that I needed, because it was also just like so much more complex. And it had also been a very deeply rooted problem that was beyond just taking away the alcohol. I had individuals who were really, really great at their jobs, who knew exactly what I was going through, that could give me the help that I needed. And, the support that my family needed too, in terms of, at the time, my husband had never dealt with anything like this and was very angry, understandably. And so they also provided, that help too. But none of this would have happened, and my kids wouldn't have the mom that they have today, who is a sober mom. And I have years of recovery now. Yay! And I have like the best life. And so the other thing that, you're talking about with the art, being able to be in treatment and being able to really focus on it. I didn't think that I was going to go away for more than a couple of days max. But the reality is that And one of the most painful conversations that I ever had to have, one of the most important conversations I ever had was when Laura told me, I was like, how can I go away to treatment for more than a week? Like, how is that even, like, who's going to take care of my kids? You know, they hadn't been away from me for more than 2 to 3 days in my entire life. And she was like, Karla, they're not going to be okay with you unless you go. And it was like the most sobering thing to hear, but she was right. And it broke my heart into a million pieces, but I knew she was right. And I knew that I have to do this, and I'm not going to be okay for them unless I do this. And so were it not for the support that I got to be able to bridge together and then to be able to explain it to me, like, this is what you're going to be facing. And then the continued support afterwards. Because it's not, like Chris talks about this a lot, where it's like, it's not just about getting the immediate treatment. Like, you spend years suffering from this illness. Like, by the time you get to treatment, it is so deeply rooted. And then insurance companies are not going to pay for more than just, like, they want you to go through it a few times before they start actually really giving you time.
Yep.
The time that you need to get better, which is also just so wrong. But the point is that, like, they were able to provide, the resources and the advocates for me to know how to advocate for myself, but to also understand that, like, this is a process. This is a process, and it involves the entire family. It involves, like, how to take care of your kids and the resources that came afterwards, because it's a life that it's a completely different life. And that sounds really scary, but it's a much better life. It's a much better life. Today I was able to start working on, actually it started during treatment, where I was able to really take some time and clear my head and really focus on, like, getting still and quiet with myself, because I was so busy with work and so many other things that, like, I was able to start to find some tools, in terms of learning how to live a better life and how to cope with my feelings and how to cope with all of the things that a lot of us who struggle with addiction are really overwhelmed with, but don't have another, source of relief for. So for me, painting and drawing was an incredible source of relief. And it was something that was encouraged. And, I'm sitting in a room right now with a bunch of my paintings. And this is the kind of stuff that came out of my, my journey towards recovery. And all of this, I look at this, and all of this is because of the Herren Project and the work that you guys do. And, I honestly, like, my kids wouldn't have me. Who knows what would have happened to me had that one person not been there to remember, that the Herren Project existed. So, I'm very passionate about, helping people understand that this organization exists and how important it is. It's like, no wonder so many people die of this, and it's not okay. But the only way to kind of move forward, because we can't go back in time and bring back people that, should still be here, but we can make a difference if we spread the word about this organization and help more people, understand how important that moment is between I need help to how to get help. Like, what does it look like? And it's, the medical treatment side, as well as the emotional support and the family support. And even this is an incredible resource that just continues. So I've remained engaged. And although I don't have a golf tournament, I do the turkey trot. That's how which is fun. Me running a 5K is hilarious on a Thanksgiving morning at like 7 a.m. And it's usually in Bedford. So that's what I do. But that's probably more than you want to know about that.
No, that's totally okay. Honestly, there's tons of comments, and so many different people had, like, it's a family disease. Some people related, and thank you so much for sharing your story so honestly and authentically. You did it in such like a beautiful way, and it's so it's inspiring to watch your story and see all that beautiful art behind you. And I'm sure that you are a breath of fresh air for many individuals who might be struggling right now. We never know who the, say, 50 people that are on watching tonight, who's struggling and who really needs to hear that if she can do it, I can do it. And I think you are that little breath of fresh air, that little light for someone in the crowd tonight who might be like, if she can continue to do it, and she has had so many just like emotional turmoil happen and so many different experiences and moments, I think I can too. So again, thank you for sharing that. And thank you so much for, continuing to share it. And one thing that you brought up is that if it wasn't for that one person, So Bonnie in the crowd, I know you're on tonight. Please second me. Our theme this year, as we are our 10-year anniversary, is one person, one community, the full nine. Is that one person can continue to make a change, whether it's for themselves or for someone else. And I think we underestimate the power of individual impact and the power it holds when we do something for someone, which is really, really important too. Yes, she is a power of one, and the people who help in the communities are also a power of one. Because it's really important to highlight individual impact. Where would we be in certain instances of our life if we didn't have that one person that was rooting for us, that was advocating for us, that was speaking for us, that was helping us in some of our darkest moments? So again, thank you so much for sharing that.
My pleasure. And thanks for having me on, Izzy, and for letting me just, as you said, pop off in my own direction. But again, I'm so grateful for everyone at the Herren Project, the work that's done, the fact that this came to be and that it continues. It's just, I can't tell you, I can't express how grateful I am for all that everybody there does. And it was so great to meet you tonight, Izzy. It's great to know you. So thanks for listening. And it is true that anyone can do this. I didn't even want it initially. For the very longest time, I thought this is going to be a horrible life being sober. It's going to be boring. It's going to be missing something. And it's like beyond anything that I could possibly envision, and a million times better than any life that I could have ever imagined with alcohol. And I really mean that. I used to hear that and not believe it, but it's absolutely true. And it's because I got the support I needed. And so if you are struggling, if anyone out there tonight is struggling, there's so much help out there. Just try it. Just see what happens. I know that, again, it could save your life or someone's life that and there is help, and it doesn't have to be horrible. You can ask for help, and it doesn't mean, again, your disease is going to tell you that it's going to be terrible, but that's just the disease talking. It is a much better life. So thanks to everyone who's here in recovery who continues to talk about it. It's really important.
And thank you so much for sharing. Is there any art pieces you want to share with us?
I mean, I have so much. My website is one that I'm, opening up. I've started to do some more of these little, some more sketches now that, I can actually, so I've done some more of the, like these are sketches that I started doing. I don't know if you can really see the glass there, makes it a little bit difficult, but I love color. So a lot of the ones that are behind me are actually pieces that I sketched when I was in treatment that I ended up painting once I got home. I couldn't access like the bigger canvases, but my website is Karla Cohen Art. It's not totally up to date yet, but that is something that I'm working on in the next few months. And it's just all because of like the bright colors and all these places, like the art that I have here. These were, when I couldn't even look in the mirror. I didn't want to look at people. I didn't want to look at anyone. I was so full of shame and self-hatred when I was like first starting off in treatment. And the art really helped me as I was like, at least I could imagine, I could dream of something else or another space, like my serenity, my places of serenity and calm, and I now have a lot more peace than I ever had. And a lot of it was like manifesting my own reality with like thinking as I got clearer and clearer and the lights came back on in me, because it was dark. It was a really, really dark, horrible time. So, now there's tons of color in my life. There's wonderful people in my life. And I'm just like, again, so lucky, so lucky. So thanks again for being here. But yeah, these are the pieces that started because this one person knew of Kristen, who got me in touch with the Herren Project. So it's strange to me. But it is something that I think the more people know about it and the more people are open to it, just go for it, ask for help and see. You have everything to lose if you don't. So I'm really grateful. I'll stop there.
Do not feel like you ever have to stop. This is a safe space, and we are all sharing stories here. But again, thank you so much. I love art, so sometimes.
What about your art, Izzy? Let's see some of yours too. Come on.
Don't pull my leg. I will show my favorite one that I did in high school. I'm a sophomore in college now, but this is absolutely one of my favorites that I have done. I don't know why. I think it's like this night and day concept. If I could go back and redo it, I would redo
the sun and the moon. You got the warm and the cool colors, and it's like the sun is on fire, but you have the cool. I love it. It's like the yin, and it's beautiful.
Isn't it? It is like a yin and yang. Yeah. Definitely. I have so many other different things like you do. My mom has paintings around the house. My sister has paintings in her house. I have drawings everywhere. But I will say, Just don't, sometimes if art, right, don't think that you need like a skill or a talent for it.
Yeah.
What doesn't Izzy do? Right, Bonnie? Don't always think that maybe art or music has to have some kind of skill attached to it. If you enjoy it, like, do it. Like Mark had said previously, wasn't really the best at golf, but they still did it anyways because they enjoyed it. And that is what matters, is the fact that you enjoy. Express yourself. Yes, Bonnie's popping off in the comments tonight. Yes, express yourself. Be you, do it for fun, do it because you love it. There's so many different pieces of art that I have that I'm like, yo, that's gross, but I had fun while doing it.
This is the thing, like there's no rules in art. I was able to do something which I never imagined I would do also in sobriety, which is I taught a Carlisle art class. And it was like, I got to go into a first grade art class and say, guys, the rules are, there are no rules in art. Anything goes, anything goes.
Exactly.
And, it's like you can, anything that you want to create can be art. You can share it or not share it. And even just, I think some things that are so soothing, some people get into knitting, some people get into other hobbies and other ways to like cope with stress, or, something to kind of keep you busy when you need to be busy, especially in early sobriety. I think is really important, but just like coloring, getting some good colored pencils and like these mandalas, and you can spend hours and it's like so soothing. And then maybe you'll start to create, and maybe you'll start to create your own stuff. But anyone is an artist, and it's like anyone can be an artist. You don't have to go to school. I didn't go to school for it. It's like,
I learned that all based off of like YouTube videos or like watching things on Facebook. But because life isn't perfect, I do want to share one that I kind of messed up on. I was getting a car. It did not work out very well at all. But
what do you mean? It's great.
But the thing is I had fun while drawing it. I X'd it out, I know, but I still drew it. But I'm showing everyone tonight because that also goes to show that you don't have to be perfect in all aspects of something that you love doing. You can honestly just express yourself. I really want to draw a car that day. Didn't turn out what I wanted it to be, but I drew the car and it was fun. And I still keep it, even though that was like 3 years ago that I made that sketchbook. So yeah.
I discovered a love of kickball, actually, which is totally random. But I wouldn't say that I'm great at it either, but it is so much fun. It is so much
fun. Fire. I will give you that one. I will give you that one. That's like back in elementary school.
Like, why isn't that like something that is more common? I want to see that in the Olympics. But
that would be great. That would be
that's something to swear. I want a college scholarship for my kids in kickball because it is the most fun sport. And you have to be athletic. Like, trust me, I am not, and it's it can kick my butt. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, you don't have to be good at it, and maybe you'll even discover that you have a talent. I had friends that did the same. So try it. Why not? There's so many different things that you can open up yourself to, especially once you get the help that is needed and continue to stay plugged into communities that make your life easier and better. Like what could be better than that? I had no idea that it would be a life beyond my wildest dreams, but here I am.
Honestly, Carla is spitting facts tonight, everyone. Well, thank you again so much for joining us and sharing your story and sharing your art with us.
Thanks for having me.
But we will hopefully continue to be in touch with you. You're absolutely an inspiration to so many. And thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me again, Izzy. It was so great to talk to you. And I hope everyone who's out there who's listening, sending vibes for really reaching out and being honest with yourself if you need it, or talking to someone if you need to help you. And also can reach out to me too. I'm available. So it was great to see everyone and hear you, Izzy. And thanks for having me, and to Mark and everyone else involved.
Yes, thank you again. And we will see you soon.
All right, take care.
Bye. Absolutely amazing conversations, everyone. And I don't think I could sum up the words to kind of talk about those conversations because I think we all witnessed them together. But thank you so much for joining us tonight on Herren Project Live. And we will see you in a week, not 2 weeks, in a week for more amazing guests. So peace out, everyone. And we will see you soon. Bye.